Hello there, Libra. Michelle B here. I looked at your cards for looking at love and abundance for the next 12 days. I also pulled up some cards for what to embrace and what to leave behind. So let's look at what your messages are for right now for those of you who resonate with what I have to say. These are downloads that I got. It's not necessarily, not necessarily my own opinion about how to do things. It's just what the cards are saying. So what to embrace and what to leave behind for the next 12 days. We've got the Page of Wands here, and we also have the Eight of Cups. And the Page of Wands would be what to embrace. The Eight of Cups would be what to leave behind. Looking at these cards, I feel like they're very much intertwined. It's like, I'm not going to do this, and instead I'm going to do that kind of energy. And I think a lot of it has to do with the overall vibe of, okay, this is where I am. And I used to think I could run away from it or avoid the confrontations, and by confrontations, I mean confrontation with yourself, confrontation with the person in the mirror, right? I'm not going to avoid looking at myself and being honest with myself about what my needs are, what it is that I want out of my life, and issues that I have with other people. I am going to face them. The Page of Wands is like, he's looking forward. He's like, I'm going to do this, but it's not out of a feeling of like, I'm not going to see. Both of these guys are holding wands. Do you see that? This guy's holding a wand and this guy's holding a wand. All right. So yeah, instead of just being like taking my passions and just going and like doing the things that just give me that sense of comfort, all the little things that I used to do to comfort myself, eat something, drink alcohol, maybe go get stoned, or, watch Netflix or stuff like that. I'm not going to do those things that give me that sense of comfort anymore. Instead, I'm going to face the things that I've been needing to face all this time. I'm going to go ahead and do it. But yeah, where I was at was, instead of doing it in a way that is like self-pitying or angry or hurt, it's doing it out of a place of joy, out of a place of love for yourself, love for the people that you care about, love for your children, love for your partner, if that's the case for you. I'm just gonna love for the world, love for myself first and foremost. I'm just gonna go and I'm going to find out how I can do better. The Page is a child that's an apprentice, that's a learner, and they're out there not knowing what's going to come next, but they're still putting themselves out there because that's the most important thing, right? Put yourself out there even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So let's go ahead and look at your abundance and prosperity, and then we'll look at your love after that, and we'll see how this plays out in the cards that I have. Looking at the internal environment for your abundance and prosperity, we got the Hermit in reverse. We've got the Six of Cups, and we've got the Five of Wands. So there is some internal conflict, but I feel like that's a lot of it's just in your imagination, saying to yourself, well, if I drop the ball on doing things the way that I have always done it, then other people are going to be caught off guard. That might make them angry. It might, I might be letting them down in some way. It's going to create a lot of chaos. The role that I play in my economic place, whether that's in the job that I work at or, in the bills that I cover for the collective, the role that I play is so important that everybody's going to fall apart if I don't do things the same way always. Because, you do, like I said, you do have some changes that you need to make. There are some tweaks. I really feel this in all the signs, that they're in a transitional period where they're like, I need to reset and come back to me a little bit more, become more grounded in who I am, instead of just like doing things just for the sake of I've always done it, and that's my comfort zone. Okay. So internally you're like, what do I want? The hermit is always asking, what is the truth? Who is the truth of who is me? What is it that I actually want? And I think a lot of the time you avoid that question, because you're like, if I don't know the answer clearly, then that's bad. So I'm just going to avoid it altogether. What is it that what kind of work do I really want to do? I don't know. Oh my gosh. And then that Six of Cups is here, and it's right in the center. And it's like, if I don't, like I said, if I don't play the game like I always do, then things aren't gonna work out. Like, I found my little comfort zone, and that's good enough, even though it's not, you know. The Six of Cups is a lot about that childhood optimism, that feeling that you had when you were a kid, like you could do, like the possibilities were limitless, like you could do anything you wanted. If you wish you could get back to that. If only everything was covered for you, so that you could just, if all of your bills were on autopilot, so that you could instead just take like a 6-month sabbatical to really understand what it is that makes you tick. You're like, if I could just do that, you see the 6, you're like, 6-month sabbatical, that would be freaking awesome. So that you can either like just totally absorb yourself into the things that you enjoy without having to worry about the money, or to actually figure out what it is that brings you pleasure. So that's what's going on internally. And here's some guidance. Here's another 6. Look at that. The guidance from the tarot. It's like choices, cause and effect. When you choose to do something, that something else is going to happen as a result of that. And it's saying, okay, so there are going to be consequences if you choose to not do things the way that you always have done because you need a reset. There are going to be consequences for that, but are they as bad as you think they are? Take a good look at that. Are those consequences as bad as you think they are? They may not be. As like, really? Is everybody's lives going to fall apart if I take a little break to come to terms with what my actual strengths are, what drives me, what makes me want to get up every morning? If I take a little break to just reassess stuff, probably everything's going to be okay. So you're being asked that. The Four of Wands is here. It's talking about celebrating. What is there in your grab bag of skills that you can be excited about, that you can like, what is it that you do? I want this to come out in a coherent way for you, Libra. What is it that you do that you enjoy doing that you've never considered being profitable? Something that you could make a living off of. Something that you could bring to the world in a way that makes other people's lives better. For some reason, you think whatever this is that lights you up, that gets you excited. In the past, you've thought, well, I don't know how to make a living at it, or it would be bad to make a living. Ooh, see, that's the thing. I do hear it, like, I'm not allowed to make a living at that. I'm not allowed to get money out of people for doing that, because that would be immoral in some way. Okay. This is hanging out here. This 3 of Swords and the 5 of Cups are hanging out here right in the center of your advice, and it's asking you to look back at your childhood. It's asking you to look back at your childhood, at the influences that informed what you think about money, what you think about your work, what value you put into the world. Rethink, that wants you to look at the influences that created that mindset. And I feel like there might have been childhood influences. I mean, it could have been just your whole environment that you grew up in, an environment of poverty in your community, or even if you grew up in a middle class like environment where everything was taken care of for you, perhaps your parents were stressed out all the time. There's some kind of connection that you have that's like, you're not allowed to enjoy your work in the world, or like money causes problems or something like that. There's a limit there for you that needs to be looked at. And so there's just a little touch point. I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's like a little kickoff point for you to consider, Libra. Looking into, like, meditating on, or maybe even researching further into money mindset, mentalities or limits that are keeping you from, I'm sensing it's that place between enjoying the work you do and being paid well. They're not coming together the way that you would like them to. And it's really frustrating, okay? There's a balance between all of those things. Enjoying the work that you do, being paid well for it, believing that what you do is worthy of being paid well, and doing it in a way that makes you happy. And sometimes we enjoy the work we do, but the way that we do it is really exhausting because we believe that you have to work hard. That's another limitation. We believe that you have to work really, 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 really hard and not have fun in order to make lots of money, which is ridiculous. It's so silly. Let's go over to your love messages. Now, for those of you who are perfectly happy in your relationships and, not having any problems, things are going pretty smoothly, this isn't for you. I'm not going to talk. For those of you who are doing really well, I just want you to know you're doing really well, and that's fucking awesome, okay? But for those of you who are having conflict in your relationship, or for those of you who are single and would like to be in a relationship, this is what I'm going to talk about. Those of you who are perfectly happy being single and do not want to be in a relationship, keep enjoying that, okay? That's awesome. Zelly, I've been recording, honey.
Sorry.
Thank you. Couple more days till school starts. Okay, so looking at the internal landscape, I'm seeing a situation, Libra, where for those of you who are in a relationship, you're like, but it could get better, but it could get better. And I sense that there's a strong, self-sabotage, a strong thread of self-sabotage with that, and that you're not realizing that there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Now, if there's actual abuse going on, where someone is actually hurting you, or someone is actually, neglecting you, or someone's pushing your boundaries in a way that makes you very uncomfortable, you don't need me to tell you that you need to get out of that. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing Libra being like, oh, but could it get better? What else is out there? There's that FOMO right there. What else is out there? What else is out there? Sorry, I'm using that voice for you. It's like, I don't know if I should go full on with this person. Well, I mean, just because you're hanging out with them doesn't mean you need to be committed to them forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Why don't you just enjoy the time that you have with them right now? Because that 10 of Cups is there. Being like, I know how to have fun, but for some reason I'm keeping myself from fully enjoying myself with this person, okay? 3 times the 4 of Cups came up. 1 in the internal, 1 in the external, and finally in the closing card, final word, the 4 of Cups. Those are all there. And they're like, you have been granted a wonderful gift, but you don't see the gift as it is. For those of you who are single right now, this also pertains to you. Your singlehood is a great gift. And just because you're single right now does not mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that you know what you deserve. You know how to spend time with yourself and enjoy that, okay? The singlehood is a time when you don't have to think about anybody else but you. All you have to do is you, right? You're like, what do I feel like doing? And you just go do that. And you don't have to be like, hey partner, do you want to do it? And check in with them, especially for when you committed relationships are a beautiful thing. You support and care about and take care of each other, but you also have to, the flip side, you have to talk to each other about how you're spending your money. You have to consider each other when you're like, I feel like I'm going on a date with this new person, right? That's something we got to talk about, right? There's just so much consideration that you have to do for a partner that you do not have to do when you're single. So live it up and enjoy it. Your partner's coming. When you're ready for it and they're ready for it and you come together, it's really awesome. But this single time is something to celebrate and enjoy, all right? There's so much to celebrate in your life right now. So I see that you being asked to We got the Four of Swords here. It's like, hey, take some time to think about what it is that you enjoy. That's what we're doing with the Hermit as well. We're thinking about what brings us pleasure, what makes us happy. Every time we wake up in the morning, what am I going to do today to make myself happy, right? So you're going to be doing that. And you're also, for those of you who are single, you're going to be introducing yourself to new people and being willing to get to know them, willing to be vulnerable. And for those of you who are in a relationship, you're trying to express. You see the Gift of the Cup here, the Gift of the Cup here, right? You're trying to figure out ways to show your sweetheart that you care. Okay, you're taking the first step. If your partner's kind of shut down a little bit and it's hard to get to them, think about what it is, something that you could do for them that will really make them happy. Completely selfless thing that you could do to really make them happy. So that's being presented to you as an option instead of thinking just shortly. I mean, you can't be completely selfless all the time, but for just like one time, do something that's just all about them and see what happens as a result of that. You don't have to make it a habit. Just do it once and see what happens, like an experiment, right? And then there's the Chariot, that cardinal energy that drives Libra forward. And I think I want to close talking about your love and relationships, your connection. I want to close with that cardinal energy. Look at this. We also have that wand. There's this, where's his wand? There it is. He's holding a wand too, right there. All right. So that's you holding your wand. That is the desire for more that drives us forward. Now, desire in like Buddhist thought is considered to be like kind of a negative thing because it causes suffering. The desire for more in Judeo-Christian beliefs is considered to be a bad thing because it creates greed, which is also a form of suffering. But actually, desire is what keeps us alive. Desire is what makes us want to do better, not only for ourselves, but the people around us. So you have a desire for more, right? And looking back at what we talked about with what to embrace and leave behind, there you are holding your wand and you're like, I want to learn more, but it's also saying, learn more in the parameters of what you have and don't feel like you have to walk away from what is already in your life in order to find that greater place. Work with where you are, work from the platform of where you are, to strive for that pleasure. And I would start first with feeling the fire inside. Instead of going and looking for that fire somewhere else, in another partner or in a new job, I would sense that fire inside of me because that's where it is. It's always there. We go looking outside of ourselves, but the fire is always there. That passion is always there. So I would familiarize myself with what it felt like to be excited about my partner, to be excited about my work, to be excited about my life. I would familiarize myself with that feeling so I know what it was when I bumped into it. Because otherwise, how would you know? If you're so familiar with the feeling of wanting and never the feeling of having, then that's all you ever feel is wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. So yeah, I would familiarize myself with the feeling of having that excitement, of having that pleasure. So I know what it was when I bumped into it instead of always looking for it outside of myself. Let's finish off with the wholeness cards from the Salvage Sawhorse. Affirmations. Yeah. Affirmations. Final thought. I take care of my body through movement, nourishing foods, and rest. And absolutely, the basis of all good vibes is having a healthy body. So as you are going forward and finding out what lights you up, finding out what gives you such great pleasure in your work and your love. Make sure you're taking really good care of your body. That way you have... Yeah, just then the video cut out, so I didn't get to finish up my thoughts, Libra. Just finishing up real quick so that you have a clear cognitive function to understand what the heck is going on in your life. You'll think better. You have better intuitive abilities. You'll be able to interact with people in a more positive way. Like, everything's going to be clearer for you in your mind, in your heart, if your body is healthy. So I feel like that's the foundation for all healthy living emotionally, bringing in the money, bringing in the love. The foundation, of course, is taking really good care of our physical bodies with rest, exercise, and healthy foods, and lots of water. Okay, not too much coffee, because that makes you anxious, right? That makes you think too hard when you don't really need to be thinking. Libra, love you. Leaving off here, and I will see you in 12 days.